All right, the issue for us tonight is who is going to win in Florida and what strategy can take the state. Joining us, Ed Rollins, Republican strategist and Fox contributor, Kirsten Powers, Daily Beast columnist and Fox News political analyst, and Lenny Curry, Republican Party chairman for the state of Florida. All right, everybody, you just saw that ad with Tom Brokaw that Mitt Romney's campaign ran. Is it effective, Ed?
It may be effective, but it's not accurate. Newt did not get driven from office by anything that happened ethically. He was pretty much cleared. Using Brokaw is just not good politics. It may have an impact down there, but it's not fair to Gingrich. Gingrich basically fought hard. We became a majority because of his efforts and nobody else's. And I think to a certain extent we need to be honest about the strengths and weaknesses of both these candidates. All
right. And Kirsten, do you think that was an effective ad?
You know, it seems like it's effective unless voters hear the truth, which is what Ed was just talking about. And I think at this point it's getting a little bit old with the Romney campaign sort of rehashing this over and over again. There are plenty of things you can say about Newt Gingrich that are critical without having to make something up. And as Ed said, that's not really accurate in terms of why he left office. I mean, you certainly could find plenty of people who say that he was hard to work with and that he was unpredictable and on both sides of every issue and all sorts of other things. Those would be accurate criticisms, which I think people care about. This one, if someone believes it, perhaps it might be accurate, but it's not true.
Well, isn't it true, though, Kirsten, that Gingrich did have to pay a $300,000 fine, that he had to apologize in front of the House, and that he was the first speaker who was reprimanded?
Yeah, but it was, I mean, look, it's like, okay, you can mark the time as the time that 9:47 is when Kirsten Powers defended Newt Gingrich, because it takes a lot to get me to defend Newt Gingrich. But, you know, it was an extremely partisan, situation where people were going after Gingrich. He ended up being exonerated of the most serious charge, in terms of, I think, but the IRS, exonerated him of that. So of all the counts, I think he was only found guilty on 2 of them, and then one of them later it ended up not being true. So it's highly exaggerated. And the other thing the Romney campaign does is they link this to somehow then it was like all over for Newt, and that's not really what happened.
All right, Lenny Curry, Republican chairman, state of Florida, it's your state. Do you think that was an effective ad?
Well, the negative ads work, and they're effective only because everybody's using them. If one candidate would decide to stick with a positive message and tie the free enterprise market, defend entrepreneurism, and talk about how that affects individual lives, negative ads wouldn't work. When everybody's doing it, the voters don't have a choice.
Well, and what about the fact that you've got Tom Brokaw as the messenger, guys? I mean, do you think that Romney was smart in selecting a messenger who might appeal to some of the senior citizens in Florida?
Well, Tom himself has basically said that they wish he'd pull us down, and NBC has. And, the other night, Romney made a very clear point that if you're not willing to make the attack yourself, you shouldn't do it. And obviously, hiding behind this, the story would be totally different if Brokaw did the story today and where it was. And I just think there's a lot, as Kirsten said, a lot that you can talk about Newt in, but I think at this point and what Romney has to understand, the end of the campaign 4 years ago, I was Mike Huckabee's chairman, every single candidate in that race hated his guts. At this particular time, if he becomes the nominee of this party, he's going to need conservatives. He's going to need them desperately. And right now, the kind of campaign he's running is driving conservatives away from
All right, guys, more than 1 million Latinos vote in Florida. Who gets the Latino vote? Kirsten?
Well, everybody's courting them. I know, Santorum got the endorsement of the Latin Builders Association, but Santorum's not the major player down there. And, I think we're looking at either Newt or Romney. My best guess would probably be Romney, just because I think he's seen as being a little more moderate, and Newt's been running this ad against him saying that he's, anti-immigrant, which Rubio has criticized. And I think when you're getting criticized by Marco Rubio, that's not a good place to be in Florida as a Republican.
Lenny, Governor Fortuno from Puerto Rico endorsed Mitt Romney. Does that help in your state?
Oh, I certainly think it helps him when you get an endorsement like that. Let me say, I can't pick a candidate because it's going to be my job, regardless of who emerges victorious, the eventual nominee, to make sure I can rally all the troops behind that individual. But I think the Hispanic vote in Florida will go to whichever candidate can best connect with as individuals, and talk about how they can create, their policies will create better lives and opportunities for their families and the next generation. And everything, whether we're talking Social Security, Medicare, immigration reform, everything ties back to the free enterprise system.
All right. Ed, Kirsten, and Lenny, thanks so much for being with us this evening.